Hello.
Howdy, everyone.
Howdy. Why is the Discord not telling everyone that I'm live? Blah. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna post it in the third person. Hello, everyone. Ash Vandelay is now live. Go check it out. Ooh! Oh no, I did it twice! I'm such an asshole! It just did it! Oh no! How embarrassing! Delete it before everyone gets pinged twice!
Too late. I already got pinged twice.
Oh no! Oh no! God, I'm so impatient. It just posted. It literally just posted. It's so funny. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever you are in the world. Hello, hello, hello. We are trying something new with Restream, so we'll be here and on the YouTubes. So we're gonna try that a little bit. Awkward. Good morning. Can we talk about the latest MBS saga? Yes, we'll go through with that in the news. Awkward. I have been pinged. Why have I been pinged? Unsubscribe. Oh no. Yeah, we do have some great news to go over. Just some nice, like, quick things, and then we'll talk about our Daytona 500. But Elizabeth, how was your weekend?
My weekend was a weekend. I made pizza for the Super Bowl,
It was a weekend.
which the pizza turned out great, actually. I was really stoked. I keep like refining my craft, and I think I've really got a good system down now. So that was a winner. The Eagles won, which was a winner.
Go Birds.
Frisk got punched in the face by Lunchbox.
Oh. I thought you were gonna tell me like someone at like an Eagles bar or something. I was like, oh my god.
No, just our cat. Um, so there's that. Uh, Good day, good weekend. It was a pretty solid time.
That is good. Go Birds.
Go boys.
I saw a great Instagram reel though. It's like I like yelling "Go Birds," but not because I care about the Philadelphia Eagles, but because I like hawks and, and like I love birds.
Yeah,
I love bird
the
watching.
little robins that are outside or whatever the heck
I
sits
love
down
birds.
and eats.
And I can share my
That's all
love to
they
everyone
want.
today. He slashed my face before the ceremonies, and I missed the MVP.
Yeah, it was
That's
pretty bad. It was pretty gnarly. He's got a big old cut on his nose.
I'm a chef. Any questions? Happy to answer about pizza in case you need any. We have one of those stones, pizza stone. Is that what it's
Mm.
called? That we use to make
Hmm.
our pizza. So that worked out pretty well because our dough came out soggy a couple of times before that. But no, it's good. Pizza's good. What did I do this weekend? Superb owl stuff. What did I do Saturday, Elizabeth? What did I do Saturday?
Saturday, I went with my family. It's my brother's birthday celebration. We went to a Brazilian steakhouse, which also happens to be Pato Award's favorite restaurant in San Antonio, which also happens to be the one that my family goes to for literally every single family dinner.
What did I do Saturday? Why don't remember? I know Sunday we went on a really, really long walk in Charlotte. There's something called the Rail Trail,
Ooh,
AO. And it's just like a path along the public transport rail that's here.
that's
Um,
awesome.
so it's cool because there's like it's lined with like bars and restaurants and stuff. So we walked through there, which was nice. Then I got tuckered out, so I took a little nappy poo, and then yeah, we just watched stuff. Oh, we watched the Puppy Bowl, obviously. Replay of that. I don't know why it's 2 hours long. Went to the HBO Max replay whatever, and I was like, I'm not watching 2 hours of this. Though it must be a really fun job just to let puppies play for like 6 hours, then you just edit down the footage as needed. Um,
That honestly, like, that's a dream come true.
yeah, Elizabeth is Pato confirmed.
Dude, I
Confirmed.
wish I was Pato because if I was, I would have a lot more money than I currently do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Charlotte, North Carolina. Not Charlotte, North Carolina. Just North Carolina in general. Okay. Sorry. There's a state lotto and there's a national lotto, and I think
Uh-huh.
the North Carolina Powerball. It went up a lot of monies like a month ago, and now it's back
Uh-huh.
up to like 140. And I was like, I should play. Cause like
Getting in on that action.
get in on the action. I want to play only a certain amount, and like put in like I don't know what $20. Is that a reasonable amount? I don't fucking know. And
I have
then
no idea.
yeah. So and NC Education Lottery, IRC. I don't know what it is. I know I don't ask any questions. And obviously, you take half. You don't get like paid out because that's just silly. Because what happened? Like you just want all of it now. You gotta be smart about it
Yeah,
though, right? You gotta
yeah.
get the
The
half
first
lump
thing I'm
sum.
spending my money on is a good accountant.
Yes, amen. And then we were talking
Yes.
about how we would spend it and we'd still have a lot left, and you can just like live off the dividends, if I'm saying this correctly, of after investing everything or investing most of
Mm,
it, and then like paying off stuff. Because like I would want to take care of my parents, my nephews, obviously
yeah.
my brother and my sister-in-law and stuff, and then yeah, just go on from there. So
I don't think I would tell anyone that I won,
the payment
honestly.
plan, yeah, till you're dead and you only got to use 100K of it. No, don't go on the payment plan. That's ridiculous. Get the lump sum.
Yes.
You're still paying it. You
Yes.
also don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You may not end up getting a payment plan, or like you might
What
not have a
if
payment plan.
society
Right,
collapses
correct.
and you just don't get the rest of your money? What if North Carolina stops being a state or it secedes and it needs all of that money? I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. Who knows these days? Anything is possible.
Yeah. You want to take the lump sum, the half lump sum anyway. A hundo P, and then hire a really good lawyer. Oh, good, perfect.
Sorry about that.
Elizabeth's like, oh, maybe we should record this for the
Recording in
podcast.
progress.
It's just one of those
And this is how
days.
we record the podcast for Thursday. This is Elizabeth does this.
Sometimes I forget. It happens.
Chap says lump sum, dump a bunch of it into Raytheon stocks. Forget about it ever worrying. Oh, and forget about ever worrying about money again. Boom, done, set.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm paying off the house. I'm
Yeah,
buying a house for the cats.
just a whole house full of cats. That's so
Uh,
funny.
honestly, we've been talking about building out like a little catio
Mhm.
because we've got a decent, like not a wraparound porch, but the back of our house has a big, nice porch. So like either cover like enclosing that because then maybe I'd actually go outside if there wasn't bugs all the time and gross things and snakes. Um, or like we have a little like nook by our washer and dryer where it could go outside and we could build one there. But every time we want to build one, we either get another cat and then have more vet bills
Oh no.
or some travesty happens or something.
Yeah.
Joseph gets sick, who knows? So, oh, I learned so Joseph has histoplasmosis. Not anymore. He's healed. I learned that Shirley Muldowney also had histoplasmosis. They're twins.
Twinsies. Ridiculous. I'm sure Joseph knows that very well and is very excited about this piece of information.
He seemed very stoked.
Yes.
When I told him, he purred, and I don't think that had anything to do with the fact that I was cuddling with him at the same time.
Not at all. No. He's just very excited about the news. If people haven't noticed, I'm also wearing my Yankees hat because spring training starts this week for all your baseball fans. So I'm pretty stoked. Everyone's reporting in.
Sports never ends, huh?
Sports never ends. Do I have
We
any
just
sports
keep
drama
sporting.
for you? No. I was like, how much do I can tell any drama? No, we had the Super Bowl, which is fine. Oh, the Super Bowl is great. Are you familiar with what happened during the Super Bowl? The Eagles won.
That's Yes, I watched it.
Oh, I didn't know you watched it. I thought you didn't like
Yes.
sports. I thought you weren't involved.
I don't, but I love watching the Super Bowl because it's the one
Oh,
sport that I
my
do.
apologies.
Also, I was rooting for the Eagles and I wanted to see them crush the Chiefs just because the Chiefs are annoying. I have I have like the most mild surface level takes.
Here, I thought you just didn't like any sports, and you didn't, and you weren't aware. I was gonna tell you about the lore of Harrison Butker, but we
Oh,
don't have to.
I don't know about him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
just kind of
forgive me.
I roll up and I watch the ball go around and I go, Chris, what does that mean?
I got you. I need to. Harrison Butker is a kicker on the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay.
Uh-huh.
He. Oh my God! Wait. He gave a commencement speech to a college.
Oh, was he the one who said this stuff about women should be at home or whatever? And his mom is like actually.
I think it is you, the women, who have the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and title you're going to get into your career, and it goes on to insinuate that being a mother and staying at home is the best career and title you could possibly have, which is wild to say to a group of women who are graduating and like just work their ass off for 4 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Before the Super Bowl weekend, they all like everyone's there early. There's like Radio Row, but now it's called like Podcast Row and like blah 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 blah. And they also have a chance to interview all the players and stuff. And obviously Harrison Butker was interviewed, asked about his quotes, and he's like, "I don't need to apologize. I'm not apologizing for being Catholic." And I was like, "That's not the issue. Be Catholic all you want. I also don't know what Catholicism has to do with you telling women not to have a career." I was like, my brother in Christ, you were conflating two different things. So he like doubled down, right? He's like,
What
I'm
a
not
dunce.
apologizing. He's like, I'm proud of what I said. I don't take anything back. I'm a proud Catholic and I won't be chastised for it. And I was like, no, you're not a victim here. Like, what are you
No.
doing? The problem isn't you being
Whack.
Catholic. The problem is you saying dumb shit. Um, anyway, long story short is he didn't play any of the Super Bowl.
That's funny. Good for him.
He
Get
has the same amount
fucked.
of time as all the women in the United States, and that just feels great. If boys can do it, so can I. And it was just so good. I'm so glad.
That's so funny.
He wasn't even
God
on the
bless.
field. The backups got some time on the field. He didn't. It was
Who
amazing.
who needs them? Throw them in the trash.
All my homies hates Harrison Butker. Yeah, what an idiot.
Truly, what a stupid thing to say. What a stupid, especially to a group of women graduating college. We live in the 2025. There is no reason why you can't have a family and a career if you would like to have both. There's no shame in picking one over the other. We
He,
we're humans, fully actualized, real adults
yeah.
who can make choices and have bank accounts now. Like, come on, get with the times.
He played stupid games and won the stupid prize. God, he got no field time. And I felt amazing about that. And then the Eagles won for all of America, and it was incredible. And I loved it.
It was beautiful. The Kendrick Lamar performance,
It
fantastic.
was good. I made a video
I
today on Instagram about the Buick he had on
Ooh,
stage.
the Buke.
All I ever wanted was a black Grand National, a Buick Grand National Experimental that was on the stage. Fun fact:
Good stuff.
only
Good
547
stuff.
made. McLaren engined, tuned. How fun!
Tuned.
There's so much lore. I would have made the video longer, but I was like, this is too long. No one's even watching like a minute 24, which the video already is. I was like, there's so much
Hmm.
more to this, but I was like, I'm trying to capture a lot of people's attention, not just car people's attention. I feel like that's a whole
Yeah,
different thing. And I was like, I'm gonna shut down on this lore a little bit. Just
that makes
we're gonna
sense.
cut this off. But
Don't go
yeah,
too crazy with it.
the Grand National debuted in the 1982 Daytona 500. Fun fact.
Huh. Today I learned.
So thank you NASCAR. Because of NASCAR, we had the Grand
Amen.
National and the Grand National Experimental. It all comes full circle. Kendrick's a car dude.
Mr. Lamar.
Buick GNNs and GNXs must have been going up in price. Yeah, definitely after his like album came out, which was called GNX, end of last year, towards the end of last year, and obviously now with this performance. But yeah, they gutted an actual GNX, which is kind of sad because there's not
I
that
was
many.
wondering if that was what they had done there because I was like, oh, like this is cool. And Chris initially thought like they probably just took this inside out of it. And I was like, oh, it looks like they took the bottom out so they could keep popping
Yeah,
up out of the stage.
yeah, they put it. There's a
R.I.P. little
bunch of
Buick.
articles about like how they did the whole Super Bowl performance and like did the whole stage design. But part of the stage design they included was the car, and yeah, they took out the bottom. And it's gonna go on tour with him, the Grand National tour for this year. He's going
That's
like
fun.
Kendrick's touring, so that car will be on stage too. But
Hell
they'll
yeah.
keep reusing it. But like it can't run ever again. I guess if you want to completely put a new floor in and everything, but yeah, they completely
I'm
gutted it.
sure some psycho out there could make it happen.
I didn't hear that it was a Grand National dressed up as a GNX. According to the articles, it was a GNX. He got it from a used car lot in Riverside, in California, and he just gutted the whole thing. So,
I have an article coming out today about Riverside Raceway and
hey,
its one-time role in Formula One.
hey, oh, look at all
Ew.
these coincidences coming on into the
I
motorsports
know.
land.
So fun.
So fun. Shall we get started on the news that we must cover?
The news, the good news first.
Oh yeah, the news that quote unquote broke a couple minutes ago, as we were setting up for stream, which was Doug Bowles, new IndyCar president. Whoop, 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 whoop. Replaces Jay Fry as IndyCar
Can
president.
you can you believe it? Honestly, there's no how do I want to put this into words? Doug Bowles is just great. Doug Bowles is a nice person. Um, I'm upset that Connor Daly's relation has more say in things, which means that we have to care about Connor Daly more. Um, but it is what it is. Doug Bowles is a great advocate for IndyCar. He's a great advocate for motorsport, kind of in general. If you've ever seen him at a racetrack while you're camping, he'll like take his little golf cart out and go say hi to fans and, have a drink with them. I don't know if he drinks with them, but he'll come and hang out for a little bit. Same thing at the Indy 500. So I think it's a great thing.
Doug Bowles, I saw him when I went to Indy 500. How many years ago was this now? 2 years ago?
Hmm.
When you walk in through the IndyCar gates where it leads to the museum, first and foremost, there is like a little, how would I just, bodega, deli? Because you can grab like breakfast food or donuts and
Hmm.
coffee there. So you go as soon as gates open, and he was there, welcoming
Hmm.
people in. He just grabbed a
Hmm.
donut and a coffee from there. He was hanging out with everyone, talking to people right in the morning. He must have been up since like 3 a.m., if anything.
Yeah, I
But
don't I don't know how much that man sleeps on race day.
yeah, well,
Like
especially
I
for Indy
feel like it's
500,
not a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, so he was there talking to everyone and doing all the stuff, and it was kind of just nice to see he was not separating himself from the people because he is the people, and
Yeah.
he just loves motorsports a lot. He loves IndyCar and he loves Indianapolis and he loves Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So him being
Hmm.
president still of Indianapolis Motor Speedway and now of IndyCar just makes a lot of sense. I heard allegedly Jay Fry little no one tell anyone I said this, a little bit of a butt munch,
A little bit of a butt munch.
supposedly.
Just one of them guys.
Just one of them guys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone has been particularly impressed with any amount of IndyCar management recently. Um, Specifically, I mean, a lot of the time with Mark Miles and Jay Fry, it's left a lot to be desired. Seems like they have an idea of what IndyCar is, and that idea was formed 20 some years ago and has not evolved since. So like I know Doug Bowles is no spring chicken, but at least he seems slightly more in tune with what people think about things because he actually seems like he talks to people,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. So I've got hope for this. It feels like we're moving in a good new direction. We I wrote about this today. The article is going to come out, but the Fox spent more money getting its ads for IndyCar into the Super Bowl than it spent to buy the entire broadcast rights for the entire year. Which is
That
an,
makes sense.
I
I
mean, it
mean,
makes sense, but that's
I
incredible. The
sorry.
fact that they,
I understand why they like how that happened because the Super Bowl is very
Mhm.
fucking expensive, and I'm surprised that they spent that much money considering the
Yeah,
ROI is not going to be there.
yeah, it's like legitimately at least $5 million more to run those ads than it costs to purchase everything. I I just feel like we're moving forward in a good direction of like, we care about this. The people in charge have thoughts and feelings,
Yeah.
and they're good, and they're acting on them, and they're making them fun.
Hmm.
Um, I'm so excited.
I okay. We will get to the IndyCar
Mhm.
commercials shortly, or like, well, this is a one hand in hand conversation. I think okay. Everyone's like, you're such a Debbie Downer. Look, I'm trying. Okay. Whew. I'm pepping myself up to like be careful with my language because I'm happy about these commercials. Like someone cares, right? I think
Mhm.
they're overall cool. They're good. I think the interest someone showed Google Trends of like googling the names of the drivers that were in the commercials are up. I just like don't think it's going to be that big of an impact as like we're making it out to be. We're like, oh look at these commercials. I was like, okay, we still have a month, a little less than a month. We still have a long time till the first race in St. Pete.
Yeah.
Someone has to remember that they saw this commercial during the Super Bowl and be like, oh yeah, let me like write this down and like figure this out and all this others like remember Joseph Newgarden and Pato Award.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't
And then
know
we
the
go
conversion
from
rates.
that to like a month
Oh
off
yeah, then we have
as
another month
well.
off. Yeah, then we have I hate that IndyCar does it. Then we have another month off, and then one of the races at
Yeah.
Thermal, which is like, oh god. Um, so I love the commercials,
Yeah.
good, and I know we're all excited because like we're getting fed something as motorsport fans, especially in a big network. And I know
Hmm.
they had Joseph Newgarden and Joey Logano out for like the Fox Super Bowl stuff. They're like doing autographs and pictures, um, there and stuff with Tom Brady and like random TV
Yeah.
spots live. So that was pretty cool. But
Yeah.
I'm just nervous about the ROI that everyone thinks we're going
Hmm.
to get from this. They're like, we're not beating NASCAR this year. We're still not even beating Formula One this
Yeah.
year. Like,
It's a nice step in the right direction. Like the broadcast partner of the series has recognized that the series exists and is making an effort to prove that it does, which is great. It's introducing the series to additional audiences, which is great. I would expect that this is part of a greater plan from Fox to continue broadcasting and continue promoting. I'm hoping that the coverage, the quality of the coverage is a lot better
Hmm.
um
Ooh.
than it was at
Oh,
NBC.
yeah.
So I'm thinking like this is we're laying the groundwork at the very least.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of fans in the United States who were similar, I think, with Formula One, and that they learned who these drivers were because they watched Drive to Survive and learned some names and met some characters,
Hmm.
and then had to remember that they cared about that until F1 returned during the pandemic. And there was a few month gap there. I know we've got, conditions are different. Everything is happening. There are sports live, but I think it does move things in the right direction of like, hey, at least
Yeah.
maybe you watch F1 because you just got into it and you didn't know that there was anything else out there. You never thought to look into it.
Yeah.
And look, here are three very funny guys. We've taken 45 seconds somehow to turn them into like little superstars to make you want to listen. Like, that's really cool. That's great. I think if they can continue to build on that, I think that we'll be in a good spot. I don't expect Fox to like suddenly do a 180 and IndyCar is like skyrocketing and transforming again, but I think it's at least getting we're moving in the right direction, and for the love of God, that's all I've wanted for years.
I was hoping Scott McLaughlin got an ad. Yeah, Scotty Mac would be a good ad. I don't know. I don't think they're planning anymore.
Yeah.
So, from my understanding, the
I
Super
think
Bowl.
there's I think
Okay.
their strategy was reigning champion, reigning 500 winner, and then like Pato Award is the bridge between F1 and IndyCar.
Yeah.
Scotty Mac does not have the same pull. I hope we have more throughout the year, especially as we build up to the Indy 500. Maybe we'll pull in some new players, show us some fellas. That'd be nice. But I guess it kind of makes sense. Like if you're gonna pick three, you should probably pick the ones who have recently done something like an accomplishment.
How did we feel about the? Sorry, let me start from the back. So we had a quite a few IndyCar spots during the Super Bowl. Before the Super Bowl, they showed like I think a general like Firestone Tire ad slash
Hmm.
IndyCar ad. Then they showed, I think right before was I think they did Joseph first, then Alex, then Pato, and then they re-showed them again.
Hmm.
So they showed them multiple times, which is great. But they also showed the Daytona 500, and I don't
Hmm.
know how like it just. I guess we're just building on the fact that people know what the Daytona 500 is, and
Yeah.
it just like looked cool, right?
Yeah.
With the music, and we didn't know who IndyCar was. I just thought the IndyCar ads were better, and I thought that the Daytona 500 ad was kind of just like,
Yeah. The I mean, I think we know what the Daytona 500 is a lot more than IndyCar because the Daytona 500 has consistently existed since 1959, I think. Whereas IndyCar has shot itself in the foot and lit itself on fire and thrown itself in the trash and
the
then
split.
returned, yeah, multiple times. And it's not the Indy 500 that we're promoting, it's the series, which you're
Yeah.
supposed to kind of understand. So I understand why it would need more heavy lifting. And it also just seems like Fox wanted to do something big. There's a really good interview with the two creative directors on Racer, the two people who put the ad together,
Ooh.
and what their inspiration was and how they kind of made it happen, which is really interesting. And they were like, we knew we are working with like kind of an untapped market, and no people know NASCAR. People know what you show a Daytona 500 ad and you could be like that's at least that's NASCAR. You show an IndyCar and people are like what the fuck is that? So you not only have to introduce IndyCar as a concept, which they did very fun with the fastest racing on earth. They took that and ran with that. They introduced the characters of the drivers who are larger than life and they made things happen and introduced in a way that you don't really have to with NASCAR because we all know NASCAR's got a big audience.
Her ad would cover Andretti, giving us the two big teams and two challenger teams. Uh,
But I don't think Andretti is a challenger. Uh, I guess it's Andretti is fine. Colton Herta is fine. I still don't think that he has the pull of a lot of the other drivers,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about like if we want to get a guy who has ties to F1, why not use the guy that is contracted with an F1 team, has a reserve role with an F1 team, and has very recently driven an F1 car around a track multiple times?
Yeah.
I would go with Pato. Col Colton's fine, but I just don't feel like he's got a lot of personality. Like
Yeah.
he's at least not any that he wants to share with us.
What do we think of the overall ads in general? We can go through. I don't know if we've talked thoroughly about what we thought about Joseph, Alex's, etc. But yeah, Joseph. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Well, it was
I like
interesting. I enjoyed it.
I like Joseph's. I liked that Alex Pillow made him fun.
Yeah.
I don't think Alex Pillow has ever he's one of those people I think he grew up with the idea of maybe going to Formula One where you keep yourself in line and keep yourself very orderly and make sure that you don't say anything too fun because someone might be hurt by it or something. They might take it out of context. So it was nice to see that they crafted him a personality. Um, not well, maybe not crafted. They at least showed what he has because I know he's got one.
Yeah.
I've interviewed him a few times and he is a wonderful man. I did a tour of the new HRC. They've got this big hauler that's their new kind of communication system. So they've got it filled with like a data center similar to what F1 has. Very fun. But Alex Pillow was in there and he was greeting everyone and like, hi, how's it going? This man's about to go race for 24 hours at the Rolex and he's in here hanging out, chatting with the media. Like that, he didn't have to do that. And it was very nice.
Yeah.
The Pato ad I thought was a lot of fun as well. Positioning him as like a superstar
Yeah.
was a good call. It was a boy band, good call. I know there's been a lot of
And then,
discussion
and then
about
they
a
had
certain word
to.
choice.
They had to say that I believe the line was Pato doesn't have fans, he has groupies.
Hmm.
And I was like, ooh, because the next
Yeah.
image they showed after all that was a girl slash woman, I don't know what her age is, screaming her head off, like
Hmm.
for Pato, and I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yikes,
I get why they made that word choice because
yeah,
Pato has a big female fan base, which is
sure, mm-hmm.
yeah. At the very least he uses TikTok and like appeals to
He uses
an
social
audience.
media,
Yeah, he appeals to an audience of people who are younger and who might trend more female. Cool. I do think there were a lot of other words we could have used because groupie has such it has a negative connotation. And I
yeah,
didn't want to do a whole rhetorical analysis of this because I just didn't have the fucking ambition to do it. But word choice does in fact matter, and it matters a lot. We could have used stands. We could have used familia.
mm-hmm.
We could have used anything. And
Any
familia,
other word,
H cats, that's for you. Literally, there's a lot of other ones. Stands, I know that you couldn't really use that because there's connotations with that too. But like,
yeah. Groupies is just a terrible, in my opinion. Look,
yeah,
and gosh, people, a lot of women, mentioned this on Twitter, and then subsequently, a lot of men got upset
yeah,
that women were upset at this word, which is wild. Because when a group of people is trying to tell you that they don't enjoy this word, maybe we should listen to the group. Maybe we should listen to the group of people this word affects.
yeah.
That seems like a good thing in the course of U.S. history that we
Like
should
a
do.
no-brainer.
Like no, it's just like a general no-brainer.
Yeah,
Overall, the ad is fine. Like I have no beef with the rest of the ad. I just
yeah,
like don't use like the use of that word. And I was talking about it
yeah,
on Twitter over the weekend when people were talking about it and getting mad at people talking about it. And they're like, "This is just a word. Don't be silly. It doesn't mean anything." And then I told someone, "Fine, go use it at your Super Bowl party tomorrow. Go in a room full of men at a bar. Go to an Eagles bar or Chiefs bar and be like, oh my god, I love being a Chiefs groupie. So glad we're here together. Use it. Use it.
yeah.
Use the
See what
word.
happens.
Tell me if you enjoy using it and if people were not like, oh, that's a weird thing to say because you know exactly what
Yeah,
that word means and it's not good and it's not for everyone.
yeah.
So
It's
it's just like they could
oh
have just done something better and it was
yeah.
frustrating. That's it.
No one has like attempted to reclaim that word, which I think is part of it as well. Sometimes I'm like, okay, you can, queer has gotten the kind of adoption by the queer community of like, we say this to refer to ourselves as a very general term, and it's no longer a slur, so you can't use it anymore as a slur because it doesn't affect us. No one has done that with groupies, um, because there's not really anything to reclaim there. Um, it was like the overall ad was really good. There's certain, I think, rhetorical choices that should have been
Yeah.
reconsidered, and I think raising the issue of that is that's how you improve in the future and you do better, is acknowledging that you can do better. uh Telling women that they shouldn't be upset about it is a very annoying thing and is just going to get me more upset about it.
Considering
And
it was a pointed thing towards women.
yeah,
Like it's like
exactly.
what this was for, like this was about us. Like what do you mean we can't have it?
Yeah.
And yeah, again,
The
people we were like raging upset about the whole entire ad and like calling for
yeah.
cancellation or whatever. People, the reaction to women just commenting about it was so drastic and like way more dramatic than the actual us like debating it online. I just
Yeah.
like fucking hated it.
No one can handle a good nuanced debate or discussion or observation anymore, which is very, very frustrating. And that was part of why I didn't even bother broaching into it because I was like, I don't want to argue with men on the internet today. I don't have that
Yeah,
in me. Um,
but tomorrow. No,
yeah, I'll hop on the stream and go. But I'm like, why does it? You could just scroll. You could just scroll by. You don't have to
or you
respond.
can be like, why are a group of women upset about this or
Yeah.
like commenting on it? Maybe I should learn something.
No, introspection, we don't do that here.
Instead, let me tell them all to shut up, and they're being dramatic
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Growth? What the fuck is growth?
I
I'm
can't.
sticking to my guns.
Tell sports fans that they cosplay and see their reactions. Yes.
Exactly.
Done. My favorite
There's
thing is when people talk about Bitcoin or something, and I think, and my favorite line to say is, I love Bitcoin. I think it's important for men to also play pretend. And that just like,
funny.
and it's just like,
Oh
yeah,
my God,
I
that's
think
so
everyone should have a
funny.
moment to do things. So yeah, it's just like we can turn it around on them and see how they feel about it. It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah. So the overall paddle ad I think was fine. I don't like the
Yeah.
word groupies. I know exactly what you're insinuating there. I was like, oh, we were doing so well, and I just
Yeah.
knew,
So close. So close.
so close. There was a sports business journal, Adam Stern. I think he wrote an article about the reaction to the ads, and it was overall
Hmm.
positive. I think except
Yeah.
for two main like two groups of comments that the Fox and IndyCar kept getting back. One is that people were upset that Fox doesn't make these good of the ads for NASCAR. Was the main one, and the second was people didn't like that Joseph Newgarden was a sperm in his ad.
That's so funny. I don't know why people got so upset about that. We all were a little sperm once. Like, why are we so just a little guy?
They had to have uncomfortable conversations with their children, Elizabeth.
Wha- What? You can just put that off for another day.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. It was only like what 3 seconds max.
Yeah.
It was funny. Life starts at conception, but don't show me the before part.
What? That's so funny. I also do want to note quickly that I don't think I ever would have expected to live in a universe where I would have had multiple ads for IndyCar and also NASCAR and also the new Formula One movie happening during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty slick. I didn't quite care for the F1 movie ad that came out
Yeah,
just
whatever.
because it was a whole lot of nothing, but it's fine. I'm just
During
glad that
the Super Bowl,
motorsport matters again.
they also showed Chase Elliott, who looked like he could care less to be there because I know he's
Oh
a
my
Falcons
God, I
fan,
know.
but but they're like, oh
He
look, it's
look
Chase Elliott, and I was like, oh, like we're pointing out celebrities. It's like Anne Hathaway, et cetera, et cetera. Chase
Yeah.
Elliott. And I was
And
like,
then they like loitered on him for a hot second, and I was like, he's not doing anything. Move the camera away. Show me
yeah.
something else, please, for the love of God.
Bradley Cooper. Who else was there?
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, Chase Elliott. And
Hmm.
I was like, wait a second. One of these is not like the other. I appreciated it.
Just Chase Elliott hanging out with whoever he was there with, one of his buddies, I guess.
One of his buddies, I guess. I was like, it was nice that they shot him out. I know, and then again, like I mentioned earlier, Joseph and Joey were both there, so thought that was a nice little shout out for motorsports in moments where we think they don't care about motorsports. And it's funny enough that IndyCar
Exactly.
ends when it does because of football, anyway.
Motors. Yeah.
And NASCAR starts when it starts
Hmm.
because of football. In the
What a
United States.
concept.
Yeah,
What a concept.
what a concept. Speaking of, you mentioned the F1 movie. Their ESPN, from what I understand, didn't renew their like streaming contract rights or whatever
Hmm.
by a certain deadline. So that means it's open to bid by a lot of streaming
Yeah.
companies. Netflix being the newest one that we've all heard about recently, bidding to be a broadcast partner. Apple and Amazon are also in the running for 2026.
What are your thoughts on this?
I mean,
Because I wrote about this because I thought, like, honestly, not a bad idea.
mhm,
We live in a universe where a lot of people are getting rid of cable. If you're not going to put a broadcast partner on something that streams, you might as well do it with a streaming service that someone already like that already exists.
mhm,
Netflix, I did the math on this. There's like 20 million more Netflix users in the United States alone than there are cable subscribers. So I feel like it could make sense.
yeah.
And we've seen Netflix and other I believe Amazon has also done the live sports thing, but they've really been playing with that and like finding interesting ways to go about doing a live sports broadcast.
Mhm.
So I don't have any issue with it, but a lot of people were upset. And maybe it's just the white men in my comments who can't handle anything. But I was like, dang, I'm getting yelled at for saying that this could be a good thing.
I think the one was because I believe if these happen, like if it becomes streaming like Netflix, Amazon, and Apple only, we won't
Yeah.
have F1 TV because every other country that has an exclusive streaming deal does not have F1 TV, and we would rather keep F1 TV. So we're still curious of how that happens because right, if it's on
I
Amazon
guess
Prime,
that
they're gonna
makes
be like,
sense.
no, like you can't have it on like otherwise you're not gonna subscribe or buy if you have already F1 TV. So that's one thing.
Legit, has no one ever considered a VPN?
Okay, but it's you can't VPN on a television.
Yeah, but if you buy your TV out of the country, you can get away with it. That only works.
Who's doing
We
that?
have a
I
we have a Canadian
Okay,
TV.
everyone, me and Elizabeth and everyone in the chat, like, I'm sure people here are young and hip and we're like, VPNs, yes. But even myself, when someone's like, oh, just VPN while you're watching this race so you can blah, blah, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with it. Also, I want to watch upstairs and I can't VPN on my like, I just, like, don't want to. We're, like, bitching about another streaming service. You think people are going to VPN?
You
Like,
can change your location on the TV, and you can also get an email address that is in a different country
this is way too
associated
much
with it.
work.
No, it's not. It's so easy.
Okay, why is the barrier to entry in your mind and everyone else's mind in the chat right now? It's so much easier to get a new email address and then change your TV location, do all this stuff, as opposed to just streaming the race
I mean, I
wherever it is.
sure, but also, yes, it would be easier, but also if it existed like this, it's still fairly easy to access. I used to watch, maybe this is just the boomer in me. Back in my day, I used to watch Formula E practice broadcasts that were only available in like 140p on a French fucking broadcast with French broadcasters who I didn't understand. But I tuned in anyway and I made it happen because I cared.
Thanks, Grandma.
You're
Anyway,
you're welcome.
I
All
had
you
to
kids
hold the
these
antennas
days.
up in a certain position so my French broadcast could come through. Um, which is worse, the increase in difficulty of using a VPN or the increase in cost of getting Netflix? I think to people, you can just, especially if you have an Apple TV, you can just use your Apple Pay when you have an Apple iPhone, which is like at least 50% of the United States, or like 46% of the United States, which done, sold, easy. And then
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Samsung could just, I mean, I'm sorry, if you have an Android phone, that's also just as easy. You can figure it out on your phone and do it that way. So it's not that hard for people to just
Yeah.
do it. I buy shit from my Apple TV on my phone all the time. It's so convenient. It's actually an issue. Rent this movie. Okay, no problem. Double click the power button on my phone. I remember when I had to get off the couch to change the channel of the TV itself.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
The olden days.
people are just TBD on
Twist
the
my
F1.
dial.
People are just TBD on the F1 TV access. Overall, I mean, HBO Max has been. I mean, we only have onboard cameras for NASCAR currently, so Max has been fine. Because that's not rocket science, in my opinion. You're just showing it on board of a camera, which isn't like a broadcast itself would be interesting. I mean, Netflix cares about sports. Sports is an easy money grab for a lot of people and get a lot of viewership
Yeah.
grab. People, bar a pandemic that you can't perform said sport, having a sport like Netflix's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day games were
Yeah.
incredible. And
And I mean, if you log on to Netflix any Monday, the first trending thing every day is Raw because they bought the WWE rights for Raw.
mhm.
And millions of people are tuning into that and they're making money hand over fist because of their investment on that. So it feels kind of like a no-brainer in a lot of different ways. I mean, guess I wouldn't miss F1 TV, but if I'm already paying for Netflix, I
It
wouldn't
depends
miss
if
it as much.
where the old races are going. Because I this weekend I took the time
Yeah.
to just judge our incoming rookies a little bit more and just like watch their stuff again. So I
Mm,
was going through F2 stuff and whatnot and highlights, and that was really useful for that stuff. But like,
yeah.
if Netflix wants to hold the archive of Formula One, I feel like that's gonna be a little bit crazy. Maybe F1 TV
Yeah.
will keep the archive and like the race when it's done, but live will be on Netflix. I don't know.
Hmm.
I know. Yes, and
And
someone mentioned about ESPN. Yes, they can keep bidding for more money.
yes.
That is correct. ESPN isn't out slash Disney's not out. They can. They're also
Yeah.
entered still.
They've just lost out on their first right of refusal,
Hmm.
basically. And I think this all also hinges on if Netflix were to have a localized commentary team. Because if we're just pulling from the Sky Sports thing again, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah. Do you think ESPN is missing out on that? Because even then on the podium ceremony, they would
Yes.
like cut it off. They're like, "We're done here. Like, we're moving on." Like
Yeah.
ESPN did
I
not care
don't
about doing a pre-race show
I
or
have
any of
not
that stuff.
enjoyed I mean, I don't watch the ESPN stuff. I use F1 TV because I
Yeah. Same.
watch the pre-race and post-race and because I don't like the Sky Sports stuff. I don't want to like I just it's not relevant to me. I get so annoyed when they talk about press the red button on your Sky remote because I don't fucking have one. And a lot of the references and stuff that just don't make sense to us in the United States. I'm like, I've never driven on one of your roundabouts. I don't know what like you're referencing here. I don't know your obscure football player from 1942 because I wasn't fucking alive then. Like it would be nice if we had actual American coverage.
Yeah.
We used to have it with NBC and I enjoyed what we had. Like there wasn't you didn't even need American voices. You just needed to have people who are in tune with the company or with the country and be able to kind of say, here's how this is relevant to us, which is all I want. That is the easiest way to get people involved. It is the easiest way to cross boundaries and to just prove to audiences that exist. Like, I don't know. It just drives me nuts that we don't have that. And if we start this Netflix or Amazon or Apple or whatever streaming deal, and they're just like, oh, sure, we'll pull the world feed and the Sky Sports commentary, I will riot.
What do you? Someone asked Metric if what if they did like multiple stuff, like kind of like every other sport does slash NASCAR's doing this year, where like half the season Netflix, this leg Amazon, blah blah blah, Apple TV
I
for America only.
I no. I don't think that would work. It pisses me off that NASCAR is doing it, but
Yeah.
NASCAR can get away with it because NASCAR has so many years of dedicated fan bases here. Like people have been watching this on television since the first full Daytona 500 broadcast in 1979. You don't have that same fan base level in the United States, and if you are asking particularly a younger audience to go out of their way to find this bullshit every day because it's different every race weekend or different every 5 weeks, I just think you're turning off audience. I think you're doing it with NASCAR as well.
Ooh,
Um,
interesting. I disagree. As
you
in,
do.
because this happens in every other sport. Like I already go through this. What's one more if I do it with
Yes.
F1? Like I do this with baseball. I do this with basketball all the time. If Metric's in here, if anyone from the Discord's in here, when I'm trying to fucking watch either a Liberty game or a Knicks game, I'm over here being like, "Where is it? Where is she? Where's Rachel?"
See,
And it's just like,
that's annoying,
but like
you're
I'm used to it.
dedicated to that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because New York sports are superior. But yeah, I'm also dedicated to F1, and I think people are, yeah, are people dedicated enough to F1 to jump around? Jump around. I also have all of these streaming services because I like watching things on all of them, and I just
Yeah.
buy them. So for me, it's just like, yeah, I already have them. Who cares? Like that's fine. But I know people are just like a little bit more stringent because it adds up really, really quickly. And if you just
Yeah.
want to have one, Yeah, you have one, and
Yeah.
then you have to like cancel it, have another for a couple year for a month, excuse me, and then like cancel that one and blah 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 blah. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't like that I have to do a fucking scavenger hunt to figure out where I'm watching NASCAR
yeah,
throughout this year. That is annoying. It drives me nuts.
what annoys me is the two different broadcast partners for qualifying and for the actual race day. If it
Yeah.
jumped around, but it was like Fox has all of it, Amazon has all of it, Max has all of it, etc., then I'm fine. But the fact that like Prime has it some part, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the year, then Fox has it the rest of the year, except for these races.
No, I just want to be able to say I'm gonna like I watch Formula One and it is on this channel or streaming service. I watch NASCAR and it is on this channel or streaming service. Like just put it in a spot so I can find it. I I spend so much of my life chasing around the house trying to figure out where the cats have set stuff down and where fucking Chris has set stuff down. I can't keep doing this for sports too.
Interesting enough, if anyone has the Apple Sports app on their phone, which is pretty useful if you have an iPhone, you can follow certain teams, and it's just like a score bug. I don't know
Mm,
if my camera's focusing for stream, and then I'll show Elizabeth. It's just like a little score bug, and it'll just like list all the stuff. They added NASCAR in their most recent update, especially
that's
starting with the
cool.
Daytona 500, just Cup, and it's interesting. So they have the standings. I'll show chat first. So standings of the driver, it's alphabetical. Um,
Oh.
and then they have playoff standings, which I was like, how will you explain this? Because, of course, alphabetically first is AJ Allmendinger, and like
Mm.
he's driving in the 500 because it's AJ Allmendinger. And then for the playoffs, he's also listed in there, and I was like,
Oh.
I was like, yeah, like yeah. And it goes, yeah, all the way down. And then also, if you have the Apple Sports app, what's convenient is it gives you all the race information below. So when it starts, where the coverage is, the location of it. And if you have Apple TV and if you're watching something and it's like, oh, this game's about to start, click here and we'll send you to wherever it is. It's really convenient when like, oh yeah, the Capitals are playing. Let me just click this and it'll send me to wherever the game is on my Apple TV, whatever app it is. So if you do have it, if you do have an iPhone, just download the Apple Sports app, and I'm interested to see how this plays out because
The app.
I wonder how they'll do. They just have wins and points, and then they have playoff points, so that'll be interesting.
Interesting.
It'll be very interesting.
Interesting.
But yeah, so F1 considering a lot of partners for streaming, and hopefully we get to keep F1 TV TBD
Mm.
for that one. Moving on, Elizabeth put into our notes. Honda thinks WAC World Endurance Championship (WEC) blah 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 might actually be worthwhile in prototypes.
Yes. For some reason, and I have never really gotten a straight answer on anyone out of this, is Acura has mostly just focused on IMSA and not wanted to go to World Endurance Championship with its GTP prototypes. It is now considering doing that, mostly I think because they're getting offers for customer teams that want to buy in and run Acura chassis. So we will see if that materializes into anything, but I would like it to because everyone at Honda is great, and I think they're great.
Suspicious. I only heard good things about Honda from
Yeah.
Elizabeth. This is not a paid Honda ad right now. Yeah, I mean it makes sense where it is interesting that they are considering WC now as opposed to IMSA, like just like you were saying, because usually it's
Yeah.
the other way around. People are like,
Yeah, I
I'm in
know.
WEC because it is a world true championship,
Yeah.
and Americans do see us now. And then we go back to everyone else, so we can
Yeah.
advertise our cars everywhere, as opposed to just IMSA, which is American focused, North American focused, excuse me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting that
And
they went the other way.
Honda has global appeal.
Right.
If I think they might have to do some finagling with the branding, because I don't know how prominent Acura is in Europe, if it is even a thing at all, or if it's just Honda overseas, or if there's just more value in calling it the Honda. I don't know. But I think there is, I don't know. I just think it would make sense. Like
Yeah,
if you're doing one, the
do the other.
regulations allow you to do both.
Hmm.
They have expanded from a single car team to a two-car team, which means that they now are confident they have the resources to make this happen. I would love to see it. I would love to see them do their thing.
Dilo says, yeah, it's called Honda. I'm a Honda fanboy, to be honest. I'm on Civic number 5 at the moment, and it's modded to hell. I absolutely love it. Maybe
That's
we should get
awesome.
sponsored by Honda. I'll give him a call.
I mean, if they want to give me a car, I would love that. You can give
Um,
me a discount on a car.
yeah, I would love a car too. Formula E's big influencer race. Oh yeah. Uh,
Formula E is Formula E has this massive gap in its calendar. It's got like a month off before they go to Miami after Saudi Arabia, and there's nothing that's happening because they're bad at scheduling. So what they said was that we're going to do an influencer race. So they're going to bring out several celebrities and influencers and personalities to go to Miami, to Homestead, Miami, where they have a little dinky Formula E track rigged up, and they are going to put people with no or little driving experience behind the wheel of an electric race car and send them out to race. I cannot for the life of me understand what the value of this is. Tom Felton, who uses part of the Harry Potter franchise,
Draco
is
Malfoy.
yeah, Draco. He's racing.
Okay, that's like cool. That's not the person that I heard that was racing. But go continue.
Who did you hear?
Oh no, sorry. He was not in the original list that I
Oh,
saw.
no, I think
So
he
I
was
was
a
like,
new addition.
okay, that's
They've
kind of
got
cool.
Supercar Blondie, who's a big influencer in the automotive space.
Hmm.
Um, and then I don't think I recognized another name.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't see that list. I saw. Um, I feel so bad because this is someone's child, but Brooklyn Beckham, the son of Victoria and David Beckham, who like tried to be a professional chef and then tried to be a professional photographer, like typical. It was just like great. I didn't really like whatever, dude. I saw Cleo Abrams. I know her from YouTube, so that I'm kind of excited for. I didn't realize like she wanted to race a car. Like I don't know, like but her document style is interesting, so like that will be fun. I believe Amelia Hartford, who a lot of people know on Instagram and just social media and stuff, and does a lot of cool car stuff, and is in movies and races and things, and has recently broken some like a record with Nissan or whatever. She'll be racing, so like that makes sense. Like they were so like Supercar Blondie and Amelia make sense,
mhm.
but the rest of them do not. But here's the thing: I know people are going to bring up Ashley. You've complained multiple times that we need to bring in outside people to bring in outside appeal, but Formula E doesn't even have inside appeal. There are car people who don't even give a shit about it, okay? We have to start with the people who even like cars, and you're
Yeah.
not doing that. Like there's such a negative connotation. We talked about this before with electric cars, and like we can't even convince car people to watch you. So
Yeah.
let's start with the car people because once you have that buy-in, we can then gather
Yeah.
everyone else. Okay, in my opinion. So they did something similar to this in 2 years ago in France, where they had a lot of French YouTubers and Twitch streamers do
Yeah.
this, but they were all
They did it
specifically like
Formula 4 cars, I believe,
yes,
back then. Yeah.
and it was so cool. They did a great job. It was like a
Yeah.
community, like really driven thing where they use
Hmm.
these people who have car communities or motorsport communities or general like sports communities who are fans of motorsport slash racing, and they like it was like a multi-month thing where they're like, hey, help design my helmet. Like my community, my Discord is going to vote on colors and designs, and like people are going to design my helmet, and we'll figure it out, right? I'm going to stream
Hmm.
my training. I'm going to stream when I go to the gym with whatever, when I go to my team factory whatever meeting, and I'm going to stream that. It was like a huge buy-in from the beginning, and the race got so many viewers. Guys, I forgot how much it was, but it was. I remember it was on the front page of Twitch, in the United States and in Europe. I don't know about other continents. I just know how front page works for United States and Europe, and you have to buy a spot
Yeah.
for each whatever. And I was on both of those. I don't know about other ones. And it was big. It was huge, and it worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like here
This
we
is
went
not that.
halfway. This.
They are not, so they're calling it a race. It's not a race where they go against each other. Everyone,
Wait, what?
everyone gets, I'm reading this right now. Each celebrity driver will conduct laps on their own as they try to get close to a benchmark time set by each team's respective regular driver.
Boo.
Yeah.
That should just be part of like the
Um,
training. That shouldn't be the race. The race should be
yeah.
the race.
But they're not doing training. They're just showing up. And I think this is where this falls incredibly flat. It amongst many other things. Formula E, I've enjoyed in the past that they have done like they've done these publicity stunts effectively where they've gotten a celebrity behind the wheel. Chris Hemsworth drove, I think, the Gen 2 car maybe in New York. I got a little creeper photo of him getting in, which was fun. They've had a bunch of other, I think Usain Bolt has driven the Gen 3 car, and they've done this as like a promo during the race weekend of like we'll stick the driver or this other athlete or
Sure.
celebrity and they'll do a lap. And that's cool. I am all for that. If you're just gonna do that with like more people, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
I cannot wrap my head around what the value of this is going to be. I don't think it's doing anything to prove that Formula E is a series worthwhile, like worth watching or to be taken seriously. The thing about it that really frustrates me is that we have so regardless of how you feel about Formula E, there are so many people who talk shit about it because it's an
Yeah.
electric car that's not fast and it's not powerful and it's easy to drive. This is not rebuking any of those claims. This is not offering a challenge to say, actually, the series is good.
I didn't know
You're
they were just
just,
doing laps. That's so fucking
yeah,
lame. I'm even more
you're,
upset now, per my
you're just,
usual Formula E upsetness.
yeah, this is insane. I don't understand. Like, are you gonna somehow edit this together and make it fun? Because I don't see any way that that's gonna happen. I
Is this
there's
part of a
no
race weekend, or is
buildup.
this like a separate thing?
It's a separate thing that's taking place to bridge this gap. So they're putting this weight on this of like, we're doing this. We could have organized a fucking race somewhere, but instead, we're doing this. And it's a mind-boggling experiment that keeps getting worse every time I hear more about it. Like the Formula 4 thing was cool because there was build up and there was
Yeah.
content and there's a lot that could come out of it and it was an actual legitimate commitment. And also it's a Formula 4 car, so like those are beginner cars. Anyway, so you're not trying to prove that those are the best cars in the entire universe or whatever that they're ultra professional series. This is just insane. Like this is just
Sorry, Metric in the chat goes, could have done Formula E at Thermal.
you're damn right.
We might as well just double down on
Double
Thermal
down.
and just go.
Insane.
Okay, sorry. Let me start from the beginning. It's these celebrities are doing their laps at Homestead, but the race is also going to be at Homestead afterwards or like later on.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
I believe they're doing it on the same like little track thing that they're gonna like the outline and the layout that they've got sorted out for the actual event. It I just don't get it. I just don't there is nothing about this that has convinced me that
They had
it will
concepts
be
of a plan. We were, they were really close. Again, I feel like if they went with like car people, like they were so close with Amelia and Blondie, because like
yeah.
they do a good job of like their car stuff. And I mean, Amelia knows how to race a car, and I'm pretty sure Blondie does too. I'm not too familiar. I've met her once in Sonoma. I don't know if I don't know her stuff, but I'm pretty sure she knows as well. And like we're so close, and just like build on the car community first and be like, no, electric isn't a scary little word or like you have to be worried
Yeah.
about, like use their influence in the motorsports space of these gas guzzling, and classic cars stuff that they do all the time,
Yeah.
and get their communities to buy into the electric cars, cheering on the person that they follow. And why does no one fucking hire us?
I don't know. And it's been painful because Formula E CEO Jeff Dodds also seems to think that this is a bad idea.
Oh,
Um,
what?
yeah, it's really weird because he was in Motorsport quoted as saying something along the lines of, "We know it's going to be boring for fans to just see one lap at a time, so I don't think they're like selling tickets. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. If they're getting fans out there, then I guess it's for off-track stuff, activities, activations. I don't understand. He keeps talking about innovation, and I'm like, what are we innovating here?
Game changer.
Innovation, like they're talking about doing the pit boost, so a little brief recharge in the
Mm-hmm.
pits, which that's innovation. Like that's technological and
Right.
sporting innovation. There's a reason why that's happening. I don't understand why this is happening. And it's not even a gimmick along the lines of like a Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight because we don't have any drivers, any legends also setting
Oh yeah,
laps.
did they even have like Jimmy Johnson? Like, give me.
Yeah, like
That's a good
you
point.
could get a fucking retired. What is Jackie X doing? Get Jackie X out there.
Leave this
What
poor
the
man
fuck? Why
alone.
not?
Leave him alone. He's been through enough. Um, who are all these people? Who do we have? Okay, we got soccer, football people. I'm just gonna say that slash, depending what our audience is. Jiggle Waffle is pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like a celebrity.
It's wild. Okay, it's wild to me that no one in our chats, either YouTube or Twitch, have corrected us about who's racing in this thing. Like, do you guys also not know,
I don't
or
think
you're just not
anyone has
bothered?
a fucking idea. I saw
Just let us
something on
know.
this
Like,
the other
I
day.
can get my head out of my ass. I'm fully aware of my biases towards Formula E. So please, like, bring your own opinion. Tell me we're wrong. No problem. But like, if you guys know or knew or like know who these people are or like follow these people, because I'm seeing more. I didn't realize Driver 61 is going to be there. I follow Scott on YouTube. Um,
Mm.
um,
Like I think this is crazy because it's not like they don't have big names here. It's just that I haven't seen anything
oh, they're not
about it
racing at
that hasn't.
Homestead. They're racing in Hard Rock Stadium.
Oh, fucking Christ. Uh, I haven't seen anything about this that hasn't come from a motorsport publication talking about how stupid this is.
Sorry, there it goes. I didn't know this was happening until right now. Sorry. So there's a gap in the calendar. They'll be racing at Homestead, but the celebrity thing is taking place at the Hard Rock
Oh.
Stadium, the F1 thing, which I believe someone in Twitch chat did mention.
Ooh.
They will be undergoing a 6-week training program before the 2-day event. Hmm.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I just don't.
Wait, so they are broadcasting this?
I have no idea. Subscribe to Formula E's YouTube channel.
This is us researching live. Me too. First time I'm hearing about this. Same. Didn't know this was a thing.
Um, that's from 5 years ago.
That's from 5 years ago.
Like finding any information about this is fucking impossible. Because
I'm
I
just
don't.
looking at Racer. Racer's usually where I get all my stuff.
I don't
From.
think anyone is proud of this.
Okay, I just want you to know I googled Formula E celebrity race. The first thing that comes up on Google is the Formula E article. This is not even like news AI generated because they literally can't because there's no information on this. It's the Formula E news article from Racer. People also ask, why is Formula E not as popular? Why is Formula E losing money? Sorry. Oh man. I feel like we're so close to something. Hopefully it works out. As much as we're shitting on it, you want it to do well. You want all motorsports to do well. Well, electric sport. I guess it's a motor sport. There's a motor, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised it didn't have Orlando Bloom. I thought he did Formula E stuff. That's a good point that someone made on the internet randomly. Who knows? The fact they can't even have a comprehensive list of all participants, easily searchable, is a huge failure on their PR alone. That's a PR team dropped the ball on this time. Yeah, the fact that I'm getting the information from a news source as opposed to like their website, somewhere listed, coming up first, that's a good point.
Yeah. It's I pulled up the press release for it and they only listed 4 celebrities from Formula E's actual legitimate website. And that was
There would have to be a PR team to drop the ball.
yeah. Yeah, that is a problem actually. That is a common issue. I don't know anyone who works there.
We'll find out together. Oh, but we're bigger than NASCAR. Please, don't get me started on that again.
I was gonna say, have we discussed this before?
I discuss it every single time I can.
Ah.
I discuss it as often as I can possibly do. Because we are streaming on YouTube. If anyone, I don't even know how many people are watching on YouTube. There is a thing that came out last year that Formula E said they polled their audience and they realized they have a like they're bigger than NASCAR, quote unquote, and their sample
Yeah.
size was like 0.0017. It also made 0 sense because clearly
Yeah.
they don't get enough views in the United States alone. I don't know if they're comparing
So
Formula E's and Global E's to just the United States,
I
but
researched this, all right? I looked this up. Um, their sample size was they asked a couple thousand people
yes,
in Europe, have you heard of
I fucking knew it.
Formula E? Would you watch Formula E? And so these Europeans said that they were more likely to watch Formula E than they were to watch NASCAR. And Formula E said, we can extrapolate. We can extrapolate. Let's set this data set against the entire world population and guesstimate and say, I think we have more fans than NASCAR. Trust me, I looked this up.
I looked
And
this up
I
on their
was,
asterisks. I didn't get to the. I didn't realize they were asking only people in Europe. They said like one
mhm,
in like they asked like an X amount, which was like too little.
yeah,
I didn't realize they asked people in Europe. I
it
knew
was
they
a,
asked people like Formula E races or something. I was like, no way, no way, I
yeah,
can't.
it's crazy. I from just finagling in discussions around
Sorry.
Formula E. I spoke to not just someone, but a couple of people of who would know, basically. And Formula E's actual fan base is like 25,000 people, they estimate. Like people who don't just watch every race, but who watch a couple or most of them. Not every single one, some of them. 25,000 people globally in the world.
Yeah, because we were
Like
talking about NASCAR.
let that sink in. 25,000 people.
That's like a
That's
good.
not even a fucking city.
That's like an American campus, college campus.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, NASCAR also has Euro NASCAR, Mexico, Brazil, Canada, etc. And they didn't factor that in, but that's besides the point. I'm just still salty about that. What's up, Lord? Next piece of news, really quickly. NASCAR introduces the fastest lap for some godforsaken reason. I put
Yeah.
in, why are we digging through F1's trash? As you know, F1 got rid of the fastest lap. NASCAR is picking it up. You get 1 point.
Why? Why?
So
Why?
it's 1 point to the, not the playoff points, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
right? It's
Yeah. It's just it's just I don't understand why it matters. I didn't like it in Formula 1 anyway, but I especially don't like it in NASCAR because now it just encourages people to be incredibly stupid as a last ditch effort and like hope to get something out of it.
I mean, maybe they just want more chaos. I mean, you mentioned for the Clash that it was clearly just like a race made for chaos. And I feel
Yeah.
like they're just talking about adding stuff to make people do this desperate stuff to make it more interesting and have more chaos.
Lame.
Let's make scoring
Hate
more
it.
confusing. I did have some new people watching the Clash with us, which is fun. By the way, I am doing a watch along for the Daytona 500 on Sunday if you guys would like to join. And yeah, if you're newer to NASCAR or interested in watching, this is be fun, and you can ask questions live. And someone did that during the Clash, and they're like, "How do the points work?" And I was like, "Here we go. Now we
Ugh.
have two sets of points, okay? we got
Buckle up, fellas.
buckle up." Someone said I just need a permanent whiteboard with the points explained. Like I do, like every
That's a good
Instagram
idea.
video every year for the NASCAR championship to round up because you got championship points, and then adding the 2,000 and 4,000 to separate yourselves. It becomes like keep two different spreadsheets, whatever.
You
But
should you should have like legit, you should have just one of those easels. Like I don't know if you had these when you were in school, but like they weren't
yeah, yeah,
whiteboards,
yeah.
but they were just big pieces of
Like
paper that
post
like you
its.
could flip to the next ones. Yes. You just need one of those with like NASCAR points. Big how does qualifying in F1 work?
Someone goes, but for road, excuse me, road course races interesting enough. Going for a faster lap, flying Ferrari. That'd be fun. Road
That one
course
might be
maybe.
fun.
Oval would be fine. I don't know, just typical shenanigans and stuff. I did see one of the Steves of the NASCAR Steves said something about selling equity, um, like NASCAR
Yes.
equity yesterday.
The
I believe was an
NASCAR is
article.
talking about selling equity outside of the France family for the first time in history.
Interesting how that
Yeah.
works.
Interesting.
Interesting. So I don't know what the Steves are up to, but they didn't impress me in their year-end report. It was just a lot of jargon. but I wonder what they want with that.
Hmm.
And kind of what everyone has been waiting for, and someone's mentioned in the beginning when we started streaming, Mohammed bin Sulayman, president of the FIA, threatening to take away radios from the Formula One broadcast.
So was it just the broadcast, or was it because the way that he phrased this
Hmm.
was very confusing. And I went back and forth with one of my coworkers trying to parse kind of how MBS had said this. Because he just said, we're going to take away the radio. And he didn't
Clarify
elaborate
it,
as
right?
to what that meant. Does that mean we're taking away radio? And this is if drivers are cursing, basically. So if they say a swear word, there's going to be some repercussion potentially with the radio here.
Oh,
It's not clear if that means we take the radio away entirely, we just turn it off, and so you can't communicate to your pit wall, or if there's going to be like you don't get broadcast anymore, which would just make sense anyway. And I think we should be vetting I don't know, we already vet them before we put them out publicly, so I don't understand what the whole to do
taking away
is
radio
about
from the
this.
driver team is, first of all, dangerous because God forbid something
Yes.
happens and you're trying to
Yeah, I
radio.
was like, the
Like
safety
that's
implications
dumb.
of that are insane.
Yeah, you can't
Um,
do that. Non-broadcasting makes sense, but then people
yeah,
don't care, and teams would rather probably go back to when they didn't broadcast the team radios, and
exactly.
like
I
put
was
them
like,
under a
that you're
scrambler.
threatening something that doesn't matter to a lot of people
It
other than
matters
the
to us as
fans.
viewers. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Teams are like, no, great. Now we can do. We don't do coded stuff anymore.
yeah,
We don't have to hear about multi 21 and like get busted for that. We
yeah,
just don't. Um, so yeah, it's frustrating for the fans. I think the teams are
yeah.
probably genuinely okay with it if they don't
And
get
it's not
broadcast
the
anymore.
only MBSism that has come out recently. And I don't know if the FIA has addressed this radio broadcast one, but they did have to address a different thing that he said, where he said, we're getting fresh blood in the race directors for Formula One, and we're doing rotating race directors. And Formula One had to come out and be like, no, 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 no. We have one race director for the whole season and a deputy race director who will also be there to assist. But we're not rotating and we're not just popping people in and out. So this whole, I just find it kind of crazy that the guy in charge of the FIA can just like say stuff and like,
I mean, Bernie said stuff all the time. I mean,
I mean, yeah, but Bernie wasn't in charge of the FIA. Bernie's
yeah,
opinions on things didn't matter quite as much. Like, it mattered to the broadcasting because he
fair,
owned the
right?
commercial rights of Formula One,
Yeah.
but he wasn't talking about actual rules that supposedly were implemented because he didn't have the power to do that. But MBS has the power to say, we just don't broadcast radio anymore if you say a swear word, or we have multiple race directors now because we want to.
Mhm.
Like, I just, can men just be accountable for once, please? Can they just like say things that are true?
This has been interesting because a lot of folks, when this came out in the Discord, were going back and forth, and someone mentioned, "Oh, they should just do radios, but keep them on delay." They already do it on a
They do
delay,
that. Yeah.
so they already do it
And
on
they
a delay,
already parse through and check out
and they
what
already
they
parse
think
through,
is
and they
interesting.
bleep out what happens.
Hmm.
They also are the ones that select what gets aired. So if there's a
Yes.
sentence that has a curse word in it, you just don't show that one to the public. Like you don't have that
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
general broadcast. So everyone's like, then what's the point of this? And essentially, what my take is very broadly control. There are so many things they want to
Yes.
implement. There are little rules they're implementing on procedure and driver accountability and things like that.
Hmm.
Through the recent rule set of like you can't talk shit about the FIA. There's no stewarding, countering stewarding rules or stuff like that. So if they let this go,
Hmm.
you think they might be flexible for all of it. They want to be inflexible on everything, including this.
Correct. Yeah.
So this is just like a minor red herring, but an overall trend showing how
Yeah.
much control they want and how much they're willing to be like, yeah, we'll punish you even for this. That's been
Yeah.
going on for a long time. So this is more of a power control thing. This is not like, I hate cursing. This is an overall
Yeah.
bigger trend of something we're seeing from the FIA, which is frustrating.
I am dropping a link into the chat from my Substack where I talked about kind of the overarching implications of the swear word punishment that came out a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, where it was like, you can get fined heavily or even suspended for a race because you've said curse words. Um, and it is, in fact, like the conclusion is like, yes, this is controlling the whole sport. This is
Yeah.
controlling all of motorsport that is like run by the FIA. It is like it's just very confusing. We're living in a very weird era where free speech does not mean what we were raised to think it means, and is instead just been like, actually, you can't say things that we don't want you to say,
Hmm.
and you can only say things for us, which is an insane interpretation of this. Um, it's just it's all about kind of nitpicking and choosing what they can control and what they can't. And we've let MBS get away with this for a while and banning political statements such as Lewis Hamilton wearing a shirt that said "Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor" on the podium. Um, like those little things he was able to get away with and keep doing, and so we keep letting him do these things, and now he has the ability to do these things and he's doing them more often and more regularly. Um, it's a weird level of like pseudo moderation, I think, is the big thing.
I mean, pseudo, I think it just is. And some people think it might be sports washing from
Yeah,
potential Middle East sponsors who
could be.
just making sure, like, for those who maybe want more races in that
Hmm.
region, that we can control the drivers to not say
Yeah.
certain things or stand up for certain things that happen or don't happen in that region. Is the current rumor that if we can control our drivers now, we can control them
Hmm.
later when we go race in these areas that may not have rights for all their citizens, the same across the board. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see where this goes. Someone, again, people are like, oh, the drivers should um, what do I want to say? I want to say riot, but I don't want to say riot. Boycott. Excuse, that's the word
Hmm.
I'm looking for. And I was like, first of all, again, I think as we stated, teams are okay if radios are done. Then they don't have to worry about that
Yeah.
BS, right? Teams are like pro this, right? Two, again, if drivers boycott it, the FIA is just going to find a bunch of people who want to race in Formula One from Formula Two or Formula Three and be like, hey, you want a chance?
Hmm.
We'll pay for it. They'll like come up with something to get people to race anyway.
Yeah.
Like this is not that
Exactly.
easy. Again, if the NFL boycotted players union and things like that, that's like 400 plus people plus staff you have to all replace, which is a little bit more difficult across the United States. Which I'm sure they can find people eventually if they go through enough high schools in Texas alone, but that will take some time, and there
Yeah.
will be disruptions and a lot of noise. But if 20 F1 drivers, and I don't even think 20 of them even give a shit. I'm going to be honest with you. You really think these rich ass men who live in Monaco
No.
care about this that much? If they have never cared before. So I think they're also waiting for potentially Lewis Hamilton to leave
Agreed.
because he's the only one who would actually probably do something.
Yeah.
So there's
It's
there's a lot of nuanced and politicking and BS here from MBS. So it's just the start of it, which is frustrating.
yeah. I think we last year the thing that annoyed me about the should we swear or not in press conferences was that it didn't feel like the argument there was a face value argument. It
Hmm.
felt like they were just trying to get us to moralize about responsible use of your platform. And then while we were all busy fucking talking about, well, actually, it's not good for the kids to hear a swear word in a press conference that's only streamed to journalists, they, the FI was just like, actually, let's just sneak in here and punish them for realsies and like give them big fines. Um, I don't know. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I don't like it. If they penalize anyone doing anything, I will riot. I don't care if the rich white men don't want to. I will. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, there's only one way this works. And no, and people they're like, oh, drivers should boycott and strike. Thank you to Maniac for saying that word. Drivers should boycott and strike. Like teams have to do something. And I was like, you have to stop fucking watching, which we
Yeah.
won't. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. This is all a moot point because everyone's so mad. It's like, okay, if you're mad, stop buying tickets. Stop wanting
Hmm.
to go to the Paddock Club. Stop making fun of influencers who go to the Paddock Club instead of you because you're just buying into this.
Yeah.
But none of you are doing that. And it's like, get your head out of your ass. You're like, oh, driver's going to
Yeah.
do something. no, you have to stop giving them your money. Like this
Yeah.
is an us thing. We actually have some semblance of control. If you wanted to stop watching, stop making the broadcast rights worth anything because no one's watching. Stop making F1 TV worth anything because we all don't renew our subscriptions. But no, we're not doing that. People are not doing that. So this is all like a
Yeah.
moot point of us being angry online, being like, "Oh, this is ridiculous." Guess what? I'm still doing a watch along because
Yeah.
that's what people watch, and this is what we're gonna end up with.
Fucking and look, social media engagements with Formula One are up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't doesn't matter that they're talking about how stupid this new rule is. Like it just matters that it's up. Um, it's annoying. No one's gonna do a 1982 driver strike like they did in the good old days.
Yeah, and I think that was about inherently at first like a bigger issue. Quote
Mm,
like how do I phrase this? Like, oh, this is just about swearing. That's not big of a deal.
yeah,
Safety's a big deal if we wanted to talk
yeah.
about that. But oh, swearing on the radio, I'm not gonna strike over that. Like that's such a moot point. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is actually a
It's
whole bigger trend.
that's the thing. Like they just don't realize you got to nip this bullshit in the bud before it keeps getting out of control. Because then suddenly it's like you just can't talk to your engineer anymore, or maybe they can give you information and you can't say anything. What the fuck? Really? Like that's the answer? That's the end point of this? This is why you gotta keep saying, actually, this is stupid. Actually, this is stupid. And keep going off about this and actually like fucking making the FIA sit down with you for hours and discuss what you want and what they want. But that's not gonna happen because no one does anything cool anymore. Everyone's wieners.
Army Cadet says Alonso quietly encouraging all the other drivers to boycott F1 to get his third WTC.
He's so funny.
That'd be so
He
funny.
would be the guy who'd like bust
Yeah.
the boycott. There's always gotta be one.
There's always got to be one. Moving on to this weekend, the Daytona 500, the Great American Race after the Great American Game, which is I'm surprised that we don't really play on those words. Daytona 500. It's going to be a long weekend of events, but for now we can talk about Cup Series. But I need you to know that I think is ARCA also racing in Daytona.
Yes.
So there's
Arca's
a lot.
Racing Daytona, and I have a I have a sponsored car
Do you
in
really?
Arca. I gave $100 to Brayton Laster to put my logo on the car, along with several
Yay!
other people who gave him $100.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
So there is Arca trucks,
Xfinity.
Xfinity, and Cup.
Cup is the Daytona 500, which is generic and usually what
Cup,
people
Cup.
what. So let's talk about Cup qualifying. Just really quickly run through it. There's single car qualifying, and then there's the dual races. And feel free, Elizabeth, to jump in anytime I am wrong, because every year I go through this, and every year I'm like, this makes sense now, and then it doesn't. First round, drivers run a singled time lap. Okay, the top 10 drivers advance to another round where they do another single time lap. The drivers who finish first and second lock out the front row. So these two time laps, it only matters for the first two drivers in the row. That is it. Everyone else gets put on to dual races. There are two dual races. The duels. The dual races are 60 laps / 150 miles to determine the rest of the grid. The first dual race decides the inside row, and the second dual race determines the outside row. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, or it's the other way around.
That's just crazy.
You're a Gergerloids, baby. Wednesday at 8 p.m. It's the single lap stuff. Thursday, the first dual race is at 7, and then the next one's at 8:45. Those are the two dual races. And then Sunday at 2:30 is the Daytona 500 for all of that into fruition. But in between
This
them,
is all Eastern time,
this is
by
all
the
Eastern
way.
time, yes, because it's the best time. Shut up, GMT users. Because you're
Central time's the best time.
Please, no one lives there. And then all weekend, like Elizabeth mentioned, there's ARCA, trucks, and Xfinity in between all that shebang. So if you like all of this and you just want to turn it on and leave it in the background all the time, all of that practice and qualifying and the dual races and the lockouts and
I
everything,
will.
you can throw it on there. But that was just Cup. There's multiple rounds of qualifying, but that's how it goes.
Yep. What are you excited? Are you excited for this? I'm excited in some respects, and I'm also like, dang, my weekends are going to be so busy until Christmas. And I just am not quite ready for that yet.
Yeah, so Cup Series wise, this is starting from now to November 9th, 8th, whatever that Sunday is.
Yeah.
There's going to be a cup race. Excuse me. There's going to be a cup race almost every single weekend except one, which is Easter.
Yeah.
However, NASCAR tweeted and other journalists have tweeted every weekend from now till November 8th or 9th. There's going to be a NASCAR like National Series race, which stands for
Yes.
Truck, Xfinity, etc.
Yeah.
But Cup specifically, there's only one weekend they're not racing. Otherwise, they're racing all the time. Ooh, something fun I saw on the internet is someone tweeted this about how there's racing every week. Cup is only missing one, whatever. However you want to take the stat, we're all right. Someone's like, there needs to be less racing. And then people got pissed at this gentleman. And I was like, oh my God, imagine if he's a woman. People were so mad at this person. They're like, why would you want less of the thing you love? And I was like, oh my God, relax. But like, yes, I agree. There needs to be less races. This is crazy.
This is like asking if you want to eat pizza for the rest of your life, would you just rather have like one really good pizza a month? Or would you rather have the world's shittiest off-brand fucking frozen pizza every single day from Walmart? I would rather hold out for the really good pizza than keep having to eat the garbage stuff all the time. I like racing. I love racing. I also want a fucking break. And I think this is a thing that, I don't know, people just
Someone
don't.
said that. They said then turn off the TV and don't watch for that week.
Here's the thing. It frustrates me because it's like, yes, I love this, but also fashion industries are almost guaranteed to be shitty pay and shitty benefits because you are expected to just do this because you love it. That's not okay. People are allowed to have a critique about this because it gets exhausting. And if you're someone like me who's going to be covering Formula One, NASCAR, and IndyCar, you're looking at certain days where you are going to be at work for probably 18 hours. That's a lot. Blessedly, I'm not traveling, but the travel crews who have to go to these events are on the road from now until December. I don't think people have any concept of how fucking difficult that is if they haven't traveled that much. This sucks. Like, that's very, very difficult. We don't, especially with Cup, do we really need to go to the same venue multiple times a year? Like, is there no way that we can trim this schedule down to make sure that we're getting the more bang for our buck, that the racing is good, that the racing is interesting, and that we are keeping like the momentum of this going without having to compromise on the general well-being of everyone involved?
No notes. I like when Elizabeth rants because I feel like it's usually me.
I like what Lurtzy, I don't know how to pronounce your name. The push toward more races because profits got to go up is the logical something is reaching the logical end. And I think we're seeing this with almost everything ever. Even with digital media, you're seeing so many layoffs and stuff that go on because the goal is to hire people for cheaper amounts of money who will pump out way more content that is not good, but that is content and that is like the more is better argument is not a good argument. It's proving time and again that it's frustrating. No one likes it. Everyone is getting tired of fucking bullshit SEO articles, and everyone is getting tired of the 900th NASCAR race this week where I have to tune in and care because there's some psycho out there who thinks this is actually a good thing.
My favorite is the gentleman who proceeded to say, "Oh, why would you want less of a good thing?" Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "You look me in the fucking eyes and tell me every single race you watched last year was incredible." No,
Yeah.
it's not. Sometimes, like just like baseball game, just like every other sporting event, there is a race that there are games, there are races, etc. Where you watch, you're like, whatever, that was fine. He's like, if you want less of a good thing, no, there's no way you agree that every single time you watch something. Jeff Gluck does that post all the time. Was this a good race?
Yeah.
trim, like, no. There's like so many races last year that wasn't a good race that everyone disagreed with for various reasons. And of course, there's variables of whether it happened, team orders, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people are like, yeah, this was just like a whatever race. This was boring, et cetera, et cetera. And the
Yeah.
races, don't get me wrong, races are already pretty long. And I have surprisingly changed my stance on making them shorter. Fun fact, everyone. I have taken in new information and I've thought about it some more. Contrary to popular belief, people contain multitudes and can change their opinions on things.
Interesting.
I do think we should have less races, though. We don't need two races
Yeah.
in certain things, and we've talked about this multiple times. Like many venues, I don't need to watch Phoenix twice. I really don't. I do
Yeah.
not. I do not need to go to Phoenix twice. I don't need to see that. And I bet you I can talk to that guy who said, "Why would you want less of a good thing?" Who also dislikes Phoenix. I
Yeah.
guarantee $100 on it. He dislikes Phoenix going twice. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
So
I just dislike the attitude that we should just be grateful for what we have and never critique or never have a thought or whatever. Like I think it is totally understandable and reasonable to say 36 races a year is way too many fucking races.
well, 38 if you don't count the Clash and All Star. So it's 38, but two don't count theoretically. And the Clash there was a break in between. It was a Super Bowl, but whatever. I couldn't care less that I don't like going to Phoenix once, to be honest. Let's see. Oh, IndyCar. Awkwardly enough, we should probably point out that this doesn't apply to IndyCar. Come on, folks, fill in some of those gaps.
Yeah.
That's funny. I also think that actually IMSA might be okay. I don't like how big the gaps are. You know, like we don't need a month.
I think with endurance racing specifically, I'm okay with how long I have to wait for a race because the races are so long. Where like you're getting a full 6 hour punch all at once, where
Yeah, it's fair. 24
you're
hours.
not getting like 3 weekends of a 90-minute race or whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, I think because NASCAR is so long too, every single race
Yeah.
weekend, it's just like all
Every
right.
race is like several hours, and it feels like you just gotta commit so much time and effort and energy. Please.
I don't know.
Things I need
I
less
guess
to care about.
I'm curious of how people watch these races because I know you and I definitely watch and try to pay attention to the best of our ability to like denote things and trends over time and things like that, right? I do people just do it like football where you invite people over and you just throw it on and it's just there in the background and you're watching it but you're also conversing and having a thing. Do you just sit there and truly watch all these hours? Gosh, it would really save it as the end of stage racing, but that's besides the point. Tony says I don't watch every lap. Yeah, do you watch every single lap? Do you only tune in to halfway to stage 2, through stage 2, stage 3? Like
Historically, I have referred to NASCAR as NAPCAR, and I will watch the start and then probably the first stage and then have a little snooze and then wake back up and get going with the end of the race because there's just too fucking much of it.
I just watch all the hours by myself. It's why I started joining your watch-alongs. Yeah, if it wasn't for my watch-alongs, I would not watch, 1, every single race, 2, I mean, I don't watch every single baseball game, I don't watch every single Knicks game, I don't watch every single Rangers game. I'm like aware of what's happening, I'll look at the score and whatever, but I'm not actively watching every single one. So, you guys are really convincing me to watch. Racing is goated for white noise to nap to. I'm just very curious how people actively watch these races. Lo and behold, I do, to state my opinion on the length of the races, I was listening to Dangerously, a baseball podcast, and he made a good point that, look, the pitch clock already, I think, has done a good job of shortening the game, but baseball is made to be this long. You sit there, you're keeping score, you're enjoying yourself, and like when you go to a baseball stadium, you're hanging there with buds, or you make friends with people, you're drinking beers, eating Cracker Jacks, you're out for the afternoon or the evening, and you're watching your team play, and this is the time you're spending on this. And I would agree with that with NASCAR racing. Like, this is the point. In my head, and I don't know about this, which is why I'm asking how people watch races, I don't know if we have the same kind of culture in NASCAR. Because again, for football, you invite people over, people decorate right for the Super Bowl, they make like a whole big thing. People don't do that for the championship race in Phoenix. I haven't seen people put out like spreads and like make fucking football stadium charcuterie board nacho thingy-mabobbers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen that for racetracks. Like, I understand the culture for football and baseball is like, we're sitting here, we're enjoying this, we're with our buds, we're talking. You can't talk at a NASCAR race. So I know that's not happening and that's not the culture because it's so fucking loud. and you're wearing your headset so you can hear the radios. But I am so curious if people invite people over, like if that's like a thing, and like what I'm trying to do with our watch alongs to
Mm.
get people to hang out because if everyone's watched our watch alongs or been part of it, we talk about everything besides the race for like the first two stages. We're talking about the sponsors. We're talking about like what Chase Elliott posted on whatever, Ryan Blaney being a shit poster, like who's this? Did you know Go Bowling's conspiracy? All this other stuff. And then like we'll watch the race if something happens. But like we're hanging out. We're at a bar and we're hanging out, and that's like the whole point of this watch along. But like what's the I think we should take the time, but I think we have to change the way we watch it or like kind of elaborate how we watch it to then further prove
Hmm.
the point of why it's worth the 3 hours.
Yeah.
Um, so,
Yeah. I mean, I think I used to kind of have the same take, and I used to not understand endurance racing for the same reason, where I was like, it's like, what does it matter that it's so long? And I think it does because that's part of the format of the entire thing. Like, that is the fucking purpose of the 24 hours of Le Mans, is it is 24 hours.
yeah.
If your car can go for 24 hours, like, that's great. That's
Yeah.
a selling feature for the drivers and for the cars. If a NASCAR race is long, like, that is part of what it is. Um, but I don't think NASCAR has done a good enough job of communicating why it needs to be that long, the same way that endurance racing has.
Yeah.
Because with endurance racing, I'm at least like, this is cutting edge technology, or like the legit cars basically that an automaker is going to sell. Whereas with NASCAR, it's like, this is stock car racing, and I need you to kind of tell me why we need this to be so long. Is it for the driver
Hmm.
endurance? Is it for the overall strategy of the, like,
Yeah.
they don't ever really communicate that. And I think with the stages as well, it's just
Oh,
kind of turned it
stages.
into two or three little sprints, and made like taken a certain level of the like enjoyment out of it.
Get rid of stages.
Yeah.
Turbo probably makes good sense. In Europe, it's even more difficult, of course, because ain't nobody hopping in for a watch along at least till 1:30 a.m. on a
Yeah, it's
Monday.
fucked up.
Yeah, so it's nice that it's going to be at 2:30, but it's still going to be pretty long if you're 5 or 6 hours ahead. Yeah, you have your Sunday night settled, but yeah, Metric pointed out there's a 60% chance of rain in
Woohoo!
Daytona.
Monday morning race.
So we'll see how that goes for everything. Interesting to see how that plays out in the grand scheme of things with the weather and all that jazz, and frustrating. But um, personally, for the Daytona 500 itself, I am excited to see it, to open it up. Considering I am just ever flabbergasted by Chase Elliott recently. I am
Chelsea.
just I am just wow. He is doing things and posting things and doing social media things. And then NASCAR released a video today, like talking about their schedule for the year, and they had a bunch of folks on there, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, oh, we're getting people involved. This is fun. This is like a thing. We're
That's
putting our
nice.
drivers out there. Like this is nice. The social team has been killing it with all their edits to like either memes or popular songs that have come out. So I'm excited to see the stuff. And I could say it's the Great American Race, so that's always a thing. Though when we go somewhere else in a couple weeks, am I going to give a shit? Like I was thinking about this. Like, do I do a watch along for every single Cup race? I did Xfinity and
No.
Cup last year, and I was like, that was too much. My Saturdays and
Yeah.
Sundays for X amount of time because that was really long. Xfinity is so good though. I like watching it alone. I might do that. But
I was gonna say, like,
every
there's
Cup race
no.
is rough. Like I
That's a
don't want to do
lot.
Phoenix. Like I just don't. Fuck. I love the facility. It's updated. It's great. Um, I'm not doing it. I just can't. I think I'm just gonna decide which ones I'm gonna do and which ones I'm not gonna do. And you mentioned IndyCar and F1. F1 might be okay most of the time because it's in the morning, international,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But
Yeah.
IndyCar and NASCAR seem to somehow always schedule their races right on top of each other. It's weird how
I
that works out
know.
every
Can you
single
guys
time.
please just stop being the worst?
So that's fun. I love when they do that. I love when they both, for some reason, start at 2:30, and I'm like, oh, why couldn't you have just all shifted just a little bit?
Yeah.
But no, not at all.
Easy. It makes sense. We don't do that here, though. Making sense is for chumps.
Yeah, frustrating. There's also NASCAR's open exemption provisional for Elio Castroneves.
Yes.
So
Basically, what this means is that the Cup Series field is limited to 40 competitors, and there are a certain number of chartered drivers that are guaranteed a starting spot, and multiple kinds, like, I think there's 9 drivers that are competing for the final 4 spots on the starting grid. But Elio Castroneves has a guarantee. Elio Castroneves is one of the cars that would be competing for a spot on the starting grid, but because he's Elio Castroneves, they have decided that he is good enough that if he does not make the field, they will get a 41st spot for him. If he makes the field, then this is irrelevant and we cut it off at 40. But if he doesn't, they add on another one. That is because Elio Castroneves has won the Indy 500 a record matching 4 times. And because he has won other races all around the world and has competed in all kinds of things. So there you go. We've got Elio. I'm excited.
It's wild.
I'm
So
sure
I
it'll
didn't
be
realize
fun.
someone would have this opinion in our chat. Dak said, definitely bringing his own opinion. Now that provision is trash. I don't want IndyCar or other drivers guaranteed in my NASCAR.
Are you being facetious or for
Yeah.
realsies?
Yeah, please let us know.
I
If you're
can't read your tone. Um, I think everyone should race in everything just like the good old days. Back when Mario Andretti could do the Daytona 500, the 24 hours of Le Mans, the Indy 500, and also the full NASCAR season in a year, because that's just cool. That's
I
just
think
cool.
he's proven himself that he could earn a spot in the
That did
in the
that
professional.
confirms I'm fucking around. Thank
Oh,
you.
good. I thought you were serious. I was like, oh no. I was like, I'm about to
Sometimes, like,
shit on you
I
so
thought it
hard.
was a joke, but sometimes you just don't know. And sometimes I respond to people and I'm like, haha, that's so funny. And then they're like, you stupid bitch. I was serious. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I like jokes.
I try to err on the side of they're not being malicious, which sometimes or may not bites me in the ass. I like being overly nice to people who are mean on social media because they're like,
I do too.
"What is
Because
she?
it's so funny. Because then they're
What is
like,
she
what the
doing?
fuck?
What is she
I'm being
doing?"
rude to you, stupid.
But I want folks racing Formula One and sometimes two and three because they love it. Mario racked up the airline miles back then. Yeah, he is more. Elio Cashnevers is more than welcome to race. How he wants. A lot of people got mad at the open exemption provisional because I forgot who was trying to also race and didn't fall under the provisional.
Oh, it was the guy who got kicked out for being racist.
Yeah, well,
Chap. Chap, who was it?
I think everyone's okay with that.
Mike Wallace. Yeah. Mike Wallace hasn't raced a cup car in ages.
Or
He got kicked out for being racist. They let him back in. And he also admitted publicly to a publication that I didn't really want to make the field. I just wanted to be there.
yeah, that man doesn't give a shit
Yeah.
about anything.
Get out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
Go home.
doesn't matter. Go home. Get out of here. Casher never
Elio
cares
Castroneves actually wants to race the
and has been
race. You
relevant
just
more
want people
recently
to turn up.
to a grand spectrum of motorsport fans than Mike
His
Wallace.
wife died and he wanted to have a wake of sorts. Sorry, go have your wake somewhere else. I don't want my wake in Florida. Ew.
At the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville in Daytona Beach. Bold prediction: Jimmy Johnson DNQs the Daytona 500. Does not qualify.
Bestie, I think that's a mild take.
Yeah, that's a mild take.
I don't think that's bold.
He's had a good run,
Yeah. I think it's
and I
time
respect
for
him for everything that he's
to
done. He's incredible. He's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which I got to. Oh, that's what I did on Saturday. We got to go to again. I love taking people to the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
nice.
It's incredible. I also had a friend take her parents there this weekend. It was
Oh,
awesome.
that's fun.
His some of his cars are there. Of course, he like there's stuff about Jimmy Johnson everywhere. Like we love Jimmy Johnson. Just like, sometimes it's we're done here.
I think what Jimmy Johnson should do is just turn to racing pre-war Grand Prix cars in the historic racing series because I know that's probably just what he wants to do because he loves Goodwood so much.
Mm-hmm.
Just go do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Go be the guy who tries out a fucking Mercedes Benz from 1932. See what happens. Be fun. Live your life. NASCAR sucks. Dale's dead. Run the boot and go drive your freaking cool old cars.
Run the boot. Um, he came second in the points at the age of 48. Just shows you how good Dale was. Dale Senior was.
Dale.
Dale. You should say being owner. He's got the whole thing with Shaq. Yeah. DJ Diesel.
Chris and I were talking about this yesterday. If Dale Earnhardt was still alive, I bet I would be asking him for comment on Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen and being that guy. And I was like, that's awful. What a horrifying thing to consider.
I wouldn't want to put Dale through that.
I do.
I don't want. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we're not allowed to curse on the FIA radio. Sign me up for an F1 race. Let's fucking do
Honestly,
this.
I'm calling up Dale Earnhardt as soon as news drops. Dale, what's you got? What's going on?
Yeah,
Tell me what's up.
comment on everything, please. Our picks for the Daytona 500.
We have to select our drivers.
Okay, when doing research for this, the article came out from NASCAR.com, like staff picks the wins. One of their picks were the pick to win was Ty Gibbs.
What the fuck?
I know, and I was like reading this, and I was like, what?
What the fuck?
I was like,
I don't
NASCAR.com
like that.
staff picked Ty Gibbs, and I was
I
like,
don't like
can you
that.
sign me up to be your staff? Because like, what are the criteria for having picks like this? Like, what are we doing?
Hmm. Hmm. Choices were made, eh?
We do have leading favorites to win. Of course, DraftKings, blah, 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 all that stuff. All the people are betting on the Daytona 500 because it's the only race they probably know about. Current favorites are Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Chase Elliott. Yeah. Denny Hamlin's a 3-time Daytona 500 winner.
Chap.
Brad Keselowski is an obvious one because everyone knows how Brad does. Joey Logano has won Daytona, and I like Ryan Blaney too. Kyle Larson just seems like an easy pick. It just seems like a thing that everyone says because he's Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Oh, it's correct. Thank you, Chad.
What if it's...
Who'd you have, or who are you thinking overall?
I don't know. I don't actually... I never know with these first races until anyone gets on track. Because I don't count the Clash, because that was just a fake-ass race. I would like Ryan Blaney to win. That's just me being the world's
I would
biggest
like Ryan Blaney to win.
fan.
Yeah, I think me and Elizabeth would like Ryan Blaney to win. But will he? Here's the thing with the Daytona 500. Okay, I say this about every NASCAR race. We talk about this all the freaking time. When someone asks me to pick who I think is going to win the race, did I think Harrison Burton was going to cross and make it for
Yes!
I did not pick him. I didn't. And like half these races, so much shit fucking happens, especially in the Daytona 500, dude. We can say Ryan Blaney, and he's going to get caught out from... Is Corey LaJoie racing in this one? Doing some dumb shit, or Ricky Stenhouse, I should say, doing some dumbass shit,
Stinky Rinky,
or chastaining everyone. Like I just can't. I just like don't know. I would love a Ryan Blaney win. Kyle Larson makes sense. Denny Hamlin makes sense. Denny Hamlin's fueled by the hatred of the lawsuit. And
I'm gonna be honest. It feels like we're in the haterade era, considering the Eagles won and we had Kendrick Lamar. So maybe it is time for Denny Hamlin to take another one.
In Chastain's defense, he's doing better. That's fair. He is. But those were good times when he was chastaining people to the wall. I would like a Denny Hamlin win.
Oh, this is kind of off topic, but I got an email. Let me go pull this back up. From a sponsor that got denied the ability to sponsor a NASCAR. Womanizer, a leading brand in women's sexual wellness, recently sought to sponsor a driver for NASCAR's 2025 racing season. Despite NASCAR's history of accepting sponsorships for male sexual health brands such as Viagra and Gainswave, Womanizer's proposal was declined. So this is... Here's the thing. I don't really know what Womanizer does. Is this a...
Did you Google this? I'm afraid to Google this. I'm Googling it. Whatever happens to my computer, I'm so sorry.
I think, are they...
Is it an app?
They're selling sex toys.
Oh.
Which I think is what the difference is here. But I'm having a difficult time articulating why I think that's so different. And maybe that's me being covertly misogynist. I don't know. It just feels like a sex toy is different than a pill to make your weenie stick around.
Well, one, you can have like a medical name. It's a medical condition.
Yeah.
That you can write off, so therefore it falls under like health and stuff. But like sex toys, like what's the scientific terminology?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Let me read more from this email. The decision becomes even more striking when you consider that NASCAR has partnered with alcohol, nicotine, gambling, and firearm brands, sectors with significant health and safety concerns. The rejection of womanizer raises the question, why is women's pleasure deemed more controversial than brands that promote products that carry serious risks to public health? I mean, that's yeah. And they
here's
cite some statistics about
this is for
how
women's. I mean, I get. Oh, sorry, I don't want to like.
yeah,
I guess gender sex toy. They can use it for whatever you want.
yeah, this is
Or is this like
for
targeted towards women, or is it for everyone?
it's targeted toward women. I'm on their website now.
Okay, if it's
Um,
targeted towards women, why are we not working with like WNBA then? Like, why are we trying to go for the Daytona 500? Like, try to prove your track record
yeah,
in a women market and show that this is useful in a specifically
yeah.
women like. Not, I'm not
I
saying
think
like.
that's
I'm saying I'm
like
not saying women don't watch Daytona 500. I'm saying
yeah,
if you're marketing towards women and that is your main thing, go to where the market is mainly women and show that
yeah,
women approve like this ad, blah blah blah. Like build your like history and reputation and be like, oh, this ad went really well, and all the places where we're targeting women, we'd like to target women who also watch NASCAR, and this is all our information that we have backed up about it. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah. There, as Chap said, I don't think anyone would advertise a fleshlight either at NASCAR. So it's it's just perplexing. I wanted to be on their side for this because I was like, maybe they are onto something.
mhm.
But NASCAR has denied these things before if it's too sexual or if it's too political.
I guess what was the ad too? Because I think NASCAR would have had to have watched the ad or seen what they were trying to do. Because like you get away with the ED ads because they show a bent carrot, or sorry, that's not ED, that's something else. But they show a bent carrot for whatever that
Yeah.
was showing, right? So
Yeah.
what were we showing in this ad that NASCAR was like, "Bleh." Can we
I,
be like cheeky about it and do like a better one and like hide the innuendo?
yeah. It's whatever was going on, they have decided instead to launch a public billboard campaign around Daytona International
Ooh,
Speedway for this week, which includes a mobile billboard truck taking over the streets.
that's
Um,
tacky. Never mind.
and let
I
me
hate
put
mobile.
this here's this billboard.
Sorry,
I don't
not on the
it's
track.
backwards, not on the track, still coming first, which is really, really funny. It was a sponsored car, not a TV ad, a sponsored car.
Oh,
Yes.
it's supposed to be pink
Yes.
and say womanizer on it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I got this email yesterday and I was like, I just can't stop thinking about it. I don't think that there's enough of a story in here, but maybe I was wrong, but just crazy, dude. Just like there's a lot going on.
Interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know how I feel about
Also,
this.
womanizer is just an awful name for
Yeah, a lot of
anything,
chat agrees.
let alone a brand aimed at women.
I can't imagine
What
hearing
a
a crash
dude.
and hearing Clint Bauer go, he got rear-ended by womanizer.
God.
And the podcast there, chap. Done. Ah, jeez. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a venture capitalist brand if I ever heard one.
I also love that they reached out to me about this.
You're a woman.
I know I'm a woman,
Quick, for a
unfortunately.
dollar, name a woman. Elizabeth Blackstock. If it's just pink and it says womanizer, I don't see an issue with it.
But they also see NASCAR has also had concerns about advertising 3Chi as well, about whether that constituted advertising drugs or like they've had concerns about these things before. And I know that is a full like guideline. So I just want to dig into it more because I'm interested to see because I'm sure this also probably has a legit standing because if it was like, I don't know, anything else but a clitoral stimulator, I feel like it would have been
I'm
okay.
a child. um, Famously, Pooper's Potties was denied 20 years ago. What even that? What is that? Do I want to know?
I think
Don't say it. Is it bad? Is it?
I
Do I
think
want to
it's
Google it? I'm scared.
a mobile poop company. You know what I mean? Porta Johns.
Oh,
Mobile poop company.
poor Johns.
Ugh.
The Mark Martin thing with Viagra still caused a lot of problems that most racers they had with Pfizer.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah, I understand why they said no. I get it.
Yeah. Just it's a lot. It's certainly a choice. Boudreaux's butt paste is one of my favorite.
What's a butt paste? Guys, we're on the internet. I
Have
guess
you
I'm
had
allowed.
Desitin? Have you heard of that before? Oh, it's like a diaper rash for babies.
Yeah, I call it butt paste.
Butt paste.
Mm,
When I was growing up, we used to call it butt cream.
it's just called a diaper rash cream. Oh, it is like a thing. Interesting.
Hmm.
I would love it for like an ad of butt paste, like on the rear of the car. Butt paste for your button.
That'd be cute.
Dude wipes versus womanizer. Better rivalry than Red Bull and Monster. Yeah, I guess dude wipes are good.
I only hope that womanizer is less annoying
Here's the thing,
on the
though. I
internet
think that
than wipes.
womanizer brand, like, I don't know. I think they're just doing this to start shit.
I think
Like, you
so.
can't advertise anywhere else. Like, you just wanted a car. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
like
and they
confused. What's
also
your ROI here? Like, did you try to like make
yeah.
an ad somewhere else and like try to? Are you
Yeah.
trying to start something?
I think that was the thing is I was like, I don't want to cover it if they've reached out to me to be like, hey,
Yeah.
we have a problem. I don't know. Anyone who reaches out with those pitches, I usually just
Why
ignore.
not sponsor
This
a
one.
woman racer if you're really about like women and like
Anyway,
empowering
and
them
I'm
and things like that? You
wondering,
know?
did they say cup?
Oh yeah, did they just say they wanted to do a cup?
NASCAR. Yeah, they did not specify which series it was, so they were sponsoring a woman in ARCA or something.
Or Tony
I don't
Briner
know.
was like, no, I'm gonna stick with Raising Canes, please.
I don't know. It's a lot.
You look into it. Is this what you have to do for today? Look into not butt creams. Look into womanizer.
I am not going to spend my day looking at a womanizer. I am spending my day ranking the best supercars owned by Formula One drivers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
My significant other found it interesting that when Lando Norris's one went for a joyride and got wrecked, people like it showed up on his social media feed. He's like, why do people care? Like this is like isn't a thing. Like who cares if someone who wasn't even in the car? Like how do we like what? He's like, what? I was like, that's a great
People
question.
love this. For some reason, we have a bunch of stories that do really well. Lando Norris got a $300,000 Lamborghini SUV for some reason. Everyone wanted to read about that. It was one of our best trafficked stories of the day.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for letting us yap about all things motorsports. We'll be back next week, per usual, at the same exact time, 11 a.m. Eastern. We started also streaming on YouTube, so that's your preference above Twitch. Feel free to jump there. Same exact linkage and looks exactly the same. A motorsports podcast. We also have this VOD up for X number of days, wherever it is. And you can also catch us Thursdays wherever you listen to podcasts if you'd like to re listen to anything or see what we cut out that you get to listen to on Tuesdays. And thank you, Champ, for doing that.
Yeehaw.
He's probably thinking
Poor
how I'm
man
going to
spends
edit
his
out the
Wednesdays
sneeze.
over there listening to us yap, and then I get done with work, and
Good.
he's like, I don't want to hear anything from you. I listen to you all day.
Don't
And then I
listen to
talk
your
to him
voice.
anyway.
Ah. Chad, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I appreciate it. We'll see you next Tuesday. I will be here Sunday to do a Daytona 500 watch along. If you want to talk shit about drivers, talk about sponsors, talk about what's going on during the race. Elizabeth, do you have anything coming out this weekend? This week, sorry.
Do you have anything coming out this week? I don't have anything crazy coming out this week, but stay tuned next Tuesday. My podcast for Deadly Passions, Terrible Joys about Enzo Ferrari's love life is coming out. You can hear
Ooh.
what a womanizer he was. Uh, that'll be fun. I've got other stuff coming out on Planet F1, a Riverside retrospective about that race and why it didn't work for the US Grand Prix. Spoiler alert, it was the promoter. Um, yeah, I think that's about it. Good stuff coming. It's race car.
Race
Enjoy race
cars.
car.
All right, everyone. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can talk to me and Elizabeth in the Discord, or if you want to see us next Tuesday, we'll be here. Thank you, everyone. Have a good time. Remember, drink water,
Bye.
go for a walk, touch some grass. Birds are government drones.
Pet a cat
Pet a cat
or dog. Or think about it if you
Support
don't
local
have.
racetracks and local in
Yes.
general, because that's just a good idea for your community. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye, friends. Well, yeah, have a good Valentine's Day.
Oh my God, yeah.
Chad, we love you. A little heart. Bye, Chad.
I got Chris a special little Valentine's gift.
Ooh.
It's
Is it
a
a
very
womanizer? I'm just kidding.